What's up, everybody? This is another episode of ToyPhotoCast with Mr. Jish Toy, aka Josh. What is up, man? How you doing?
I'm good, buddy. How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I am so excited that you are going to be doing this with me today. I just before we press record was just telling you how grateful I am, and you've been a supporter of 112 Collective since like day one. So this is pretty awesome.
In reality, you've been a big supporter of me with 112 Collective. So I can't thank you enough for the platforms that you have created for toy photographers, and I am so happy to be a part of it.
Thanks, man. Likewise. It's all mutual here, my friend. So everybody wants to know, how long have you been doing toy photography for, man?
Okay, well, my first post was in 2017.
Okay.
Yeah, July 26, 2017. But I first started following it around 2016 March. I think you and I like discussed this before. It all started for me with Batman vs Superman,
Mm-hmm.
which, say what you want about the movie, whatever. I was really like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like appeased by the mech suit of Batman.
You were
So I had
stoked.
this stoked. Yeah, I really liked its look, its vibe. Um, So I went online because I wanted to like make the mech suit for out of cardboard and all that. And I went online and I was searching for it and like just like images of it, and I came across Hot Toys. And like the first image I saw was the mech suit Batman Hot Toys, and I was like, holy crap, like that's a toy.
Yep.
And so then naturally I just through searching online and stuff, Instagram had noticed that I'd been searching for that kind of stuff online, and it ended up in my feed somehow, and it was like all this 1/6, and I was just like, these are toys, and then I started following hashtags, and then I came upon guys like D Amazing, Sergeant Bananas, everyone mentions all those guys, but and then like my brain just became a sponge for it. I just kind of became obsessed with it, the idea of it, and the creativity behind it, and yeah, the ball's been rolling ever since then. So I'd say about 3 or 4 years now.
Nice, man. And so when you started out, you'd mentioned to me before you got on a couple weeks ago, you'd mentioned that D Amazing was a big inspiration, and I
Yeah,
see a lot of his style, man, in your work. And so I know like you do the articulated comic book stuff, like where
yep.
you try to do mostly practical work where
hmm
you're incorporating like do you use any sort of special effects for your stuff at all?
Um, yeah, like the furthest I go, like I'm not like a graphics design artist by any means. I don't have like any training in it or anything, but the furthest I go as far as like special effects go is I do have Photoshop, and but everything that I've learned is completely just YouTube self-taught.
Hmm.
If there's something I want to try, like impose in my shot, I go on YouTube and try and find anything that'll help me get there. So like if I think it was a couple weeks ago or last week now, I posted a shot of the Mandalorian, and I
Hmm.
put a flame effect in there, and it's not perfect, but I thought it turned out really cool. But like that's the furthest I go. I'll take out wires because I do use a lot of like homemade like ACBA style flight stands. I've made
Yeah.
them all myself out of haywire, and it's a lot easier to take out with like the spot healing brush tool in Photoshop. But that's like the extent of where I go with special effects. Other than that, I use a lot of the practical stuff from like Bandai and SH Figure Arts, and I use polyester for smoke sometimes in my shots and just stuff like that. But that's about as far as it goes.
So I've never asked this before, but it just kind of dawned on me. What makes you gravitate towards that style? Like what draws you to it?
That's a great question, man. I I don't know. I think it's more fun that way, I guess. For me, like the whole idea of like growing up, I loved movies, and like the idea behind movies. And I think a lot of people would agree with me when they say that Steven Spielberg is in like their top three favorite filmmakers.
Hmm.
And for me, it was always, Spielberg always had like these awesome sets with like Indiana Jones, or even Jurassic Park sets were big, just things like that. So I guess for me, as far as ACBA goes, incorporating that is like the idea of like having all these sets like around you, and it's more like comic book style, if that makes sense, I
Yeah.
guess. But with The Amazing, like the inspiration that Darius like I draw from is just how dynamic his shots are. Like with the posing, like just the eye that he has, is amazing. And what I find myself a lot, like especially early on with Toy Photography, was visiting his page and just like, wow, man, like you are incredible. Like he just has such an eye. And he introduced me to a lot of dial makers, and he gives a ton of shout outs. So I draw a ton of inspiration from Darius, without a doubt.
For sure. And you can definitely tell, man, it's all up in your work, and it's a good thing for sure.
Yeah.
So, how do you feel like since you started out that you have seen like a vast improvement in, and what kind of techniques are you using now that you really didn't use before?
Um, as far as improvement goes, man, like the main thing, if you feel the need or the time to ever go back and look at my early work, is I did not know what I was doing with the camera. And I know a lot of guests on here have said that. Um, but like early on, man, when I had the camera, like I wanted to shoot everything in low aperture, and all my photos were overexposed. I didn't really understand framing. I didn't understand lighting, the way that the camera receives the light. And then it just kind of clicked for me about a year into actually owning the camera. And I decided that I was gonna like basically just be an indoor photographer. I feel like you can control more as far as like lighting goes. So I
Hmm.
think that's the biggest leap for me, was understanding how the camera works, and framing and lighting, and the techniques I use today. It's just evolved with that. As far as like getting an idea in my head of the shot, and then setting it up, what diorama I want to use, and understanding how to light certain figures. For me, I like to do a lot of like moods and tones depending on what the figure is. I feel like with, for instance, like Spider-Man, if I'm shooting a Spider-Man figure, I want the pictures to be a little bit more brighter, or bright, and vibrant, as opposed to Batman or like Joker. I want those shots to be, darker, a little bit more grittier, stuff like that.
Hmm. So you put a lot of thought into it.
It sounds like it, but like in reality, not really, man. I know that you've asked a lot of people like how long does it take from pre to post,
Hmm.
and for me, man, it varies. It really does. Like like that Mandalorian shot. Like I had just finished watching the show. I finished it up last week, and I was like, man, I got this idea. And I literally just set that up in like 10 minutes. I had an idea for the frame that I wanted to use, and like the depth of how I would try and use it. And then 10 minutes, took about, 25 pictures, picked the one that I liked best, took it to post, added the flames, and it was on Instagram within an hour. But then, there's other times I just sit there and I'll shoot the same figure for 3 hours, and I won't use any of those photos. Like 80 photos go to waste. So
Right.
it's just, it's just different for everybody. But some figures I put a little bit more thought into, but for the most part, man, it's pretty much just winging it.
Nice. I think like for your style, like it's kind of like running gun. It's like, which is not, I'm not saying that's like a bad thing at all. I think it's
Sure.
like, it's more, it's almost like you're trying to evoke like someone who's actually got a camera, and they're like trying to like capture the action as it's happening, instead of like, when a lot of people shoot on tripod. I've noticed this, and this is something that like after just staring at toy photography for years, is
Hmm.
that people that use tripods the right way versus people that use tripods the wrong way. Like,
Yeah.
do you shoot on a tripod? Because I feel like sometimes like your shots don't look like they're on a tripod.
I do not even own a tripod.
That's what I was thinking, dude, because okay, so my theory is right because I feel like when you are trying to capture a shot, like you're moving all around the character, trying to capture that
Yep.
one angle that hits you just right. I
Yep.
think Darius does this too. If I'm not mistaken, but I feel like there's nothing wrong with tripods because I love tripods too
Yeah.
if they're used correctly. But sometimes a tripod can make the image almost seem so static, even though the character may be perfectly posed and the dynamic
Yeah.
lighting and all that's perfect. But the tripod for me sometimes feels like they weren't thinking about the way that the camera was being positioned. And I found that myself, like because I shoot with a smartphone right now, but like because it's
Yep.
all handheld, and so you're
Hmm.
trying to capture an image because you're trying to get it in focus and while you're moving it and trying to be fluid. And I feel like
Yeah.
that for me personally, I think it's more dynamic when you do it sometimes, like without a
Yeah.
tripod. And sometimes it is. You know what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
No. 100%. So like, like a Dutch angle, I guess, like that they use in cinema, cinematography and cinema. The camera's angled, like if they want to set up the mood of what's happening, or just something to add a little flair to it. And I noticed that with Darius's stuff. Like, I'm not even sure he owns a tripod either, but I think that's why I was a little bit more drawn to him as well. And I know exactly what you mean. Like sometimes, like I want my shots to be tight, like not necessarily a portrait, but like just you're just so much more focused on what's happening like right then and there, as opposed to a wider shot where everything's going on around it or behind it. And yeah, it's like you said, man, like I will set up a scene and I will literally just move the camera around and click 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 click. Let's try it this way. Click click click. Let's turn it this way. Click click click. And then I'll go back and I'll look at them and I'll mark the ones that I like. And yeah, man, you nailed it. I don't have a tripod. That's exactly how I approach a lot of my shots, run and gun style. I like it.
Cool, man. Okay, I'm not crazy. Good to know. Because sometimes I
Definitely
feel
not.
like I come up with these theories sometimes in my head, and I'm like, maybe I'm a little over obsessed. But that's cool. That's cool to know that, man. Because
It's awesome that you recognize that, dude. It's that's awesome.
okay, I'm not crazy. Thank
Not at
goodness.
all.
So, what's your favorite line of figures? And I think I know the answer to this question, but what's your favorite line and why?
Yeah, it's Mezco. Why? I mean, they're just. I mean, it's second to none. Like the quality of the figure. I've never had QC issues with the Mezco figure. Their soft goods, their joints, their head sculpts, I mean, well, sometimes early on their head sculpts may be a little bit questionable, and they still might not be up to the standards of say like Bandai and SH Figure Arts. Even Marvel Legends, Hasbro stepped their game up. Um, but it's just yeah, man, Mezco all the way for all those reasons, and I'm willing to pay the price point for what they are, especially since One Stop Toy Shop came along. Shout out to them. Or
Shout out to One Stop Toy Shop.
straight up, man. I mean, I've bought so many figures from him over the last year or so, and I have pre-orders with him too. I can't wait for that Supreme night. But but yeah, man, Mezco, long answer.
Nice. Yeah, it's it's hard to beat, man. And I feel like I saw somebody post recently like where and I understand their sentiment like they love Mezco, but they're kind of like waiting for them to like go to the next level. And
Yeah,
I think it's like if you could only I think the only thing I feel like right now Mezco needs to improve on, and it's just a personal preference, is just shoulder articulation, like being able to like get a wider butterfly joint.
yeah,
Like this is just a total tangent I'm going off on right now. Like if they could get a better butterfly joint for Batman and he could get that real deep crunch with his arm, I
yeah.
feel like that would just make the figures like perfect. Like that's my only gripe I feel that I have with them. The butterfly joint is there, but it's not enough in my
It's so
opinion.
simple too, man. Like Hasbro with their body molds, whenever they do incorporate their butterfly joints, like it's perfect. And for the most part, and it, if Mezco could just, slap in a similar design. I mean, most of their stuff's covered up by soft goods anyway. So you're not
Exactly.
like hindering, the aesthetics of the figure. I mean, yeah, I feel like that would be a cheap, simple addition to all of their figures moving forward. I wish that they would kind of, I know, like, I love Batman as much as the next person, and I know you love Batman too. But I kind of wish that they would like chill out on making Batmans. It's like it seems like every other day it's like, I have their notifications um set up on my Instagram for like when they post, and it just seems like every time there's a new post it's like, oh no, here's another Batman,
That's like
you know.
wishing Walmart would stop selling bread and milk.
I, straight up,
They
yeah,
got to have their
for sure.
staples, man. Got to have the staples.
I agree. And they've killed it, man. I mean, I own what, one, two, three, four, five of their versions of Batman, and I mean, there's however many more. I've chosen to be a little bit more picky about them now, just with the price point and what they are, and I bought the Onyx edition Batman. I think it's the Sovereign Knight. That it's
Yeah.
supposed to be like the Michael Keaton style repaint, Tim Burton,
Hmm.
and then like, so like I pre-ordered it, I got it, and then here comes the Michael Keaton version this next summer, and it's like, well, damn it. If I would have just held off, and they announced it and I saw it at Comic-Con and it was beautiful. The articulation on it's not going to be worth much, but
But it's going to be a different. It's going
oh,
to be
it's
a different
beautiful.
buck though, because it's not going to be a soft goods suit.
Right.
It's going to be a hard plastic suit, kind of like Iron Man was. So
See,
it'll be
I didn't buy their Iron Man. Sorry to interrupt you. I didn't
no,
get
no,
their Iron Man.
you're fine. It's just it's going to be different Batman than the
Yeah.
Onyx. But I see what you're saying though.
Yeah. Yeah, he's probably going to be super stiff, but I'm going to have a lot of fun shooting him. Just it's I have the NECA version of that Batman, and he was a ton of fun to shoot. It was just like nostalgia heaven. Just trying
Dude,
to come up with all these different scenes and lighting them and stuff was awesome.
we could talk about Batman the rest of the podcast if you want to.
Straight up,
Okay,
man.
so who would you want to see just because I want to know who would you like to see Mezco do instead of Batman?
I think that they need to redo Superman. Like, I don't have that Superman figure, but I wasn't like overly impressed with it.
Yeah.
And there just aren't any good until Mayfex Metacom, like until they drop that Hush Superman in a couple months. There really isn't like a Superman figure to run home about.
Yeah.
And Superman's not exactly my favorite character or superhero, but at the same time I still love him. And I just feel like if I feel like they need to retouch Superman, like, because the head sculpt on that BVS one, and you can get great head sculpts for him across the internet. Um, but like I just there's those figures just seem so underwhelming, and I had opportunities to buy them for good prices, and I still was just like, eh.
I have
So
a
for me,
feeling, man. I have a feeling, don't quote me on this, but I have a feeling we're going to see a tease or maybe even a pre-order of a modern Superman this year. Just because of like if you look at the way that Mez has been going with all of the like the old school designs and the new school, like they did the old school Wonder Woman and they're going to do the new
yeah,
school Wonder Woman and they're doing the old school uh what's it called?
Aquaman. They just dropped
Yep.
Aquaman, didn't they? Yeah.
Yeah, Aquaman. So I think well that's kind of like a mix of both new and old. But
Hmm.
I think we're gonna see that this year. Because like you said, they can only do so many Batmans and they gotta do other IPs. But if you
Yep.
notice, I saw it on the Mezco collectors group that they only release like a certain amount of figures per year, and they did the same amount this year as they did last year. So like I think it's like 35 or 40 figures that are like main line 112 collective figures, and then they have of course their exclusives. But
Hmm.
I think we'll see one. I really do. I want to see like a Tony May inspired Superman design because everybody knows Tony May makes the best Superman suits.
Yeah, man, and dude, even like I recently bought like an Alex Ross. It's the DC collectibles Kingdom Come Superman. I've always enjoyed like that, like Alex Ross, graphic novel style of Superman, like an older Superman, just like anything, man. Like I want a good Superman figure for a lot of reasons. I just feel like he'd be so much fun to shoot, between lifting things up, flying, like anything. I want a good Superman figure in my life.
Yeah, and he came out like at a point where what year did he come out? The original Superman, was it like 2 years ago? It was right before Mezco got
Mezco?
really big. Yeah.
Yeah, it was like, I think, yeah, it was about like 2018, yeah, 2018, 2017, somewhere around there. And yeah, I don't know, man. It just looked underwhelming. Like the head sculpt wasn't great, and then you can see the seam like coming off of his shoulder in the suit. It just seemed like they were like, "Hey, here's a Superman figure, pay $80 for it." Like that's kind of how it felt for me, and I know that a lot of people weren't really happy with it. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's me. That's where I'm at with Mezco. Give me another Superman. Give me a cool one. Give me one that looks as good as what you've been pumping out with Batman lately.
All right, we put in a request. I hopefully Mezco is listening, so we'll
Yeah,
see.
if you're listening, Superman, book it.
Definitely. So how do you see yourself, man? How do you see this toy photography hobby? Like, do you view it as a hobby or is it your art? Like, what do you see it as, and how do you approach it?
So, yeah, for me, it's a full-fledged hobby. It's a way for me to escape reality for a while. I don't post as frequent as I used to. Since I started dating my girlfriend. And I mean she's very supportive of it and everything. It's just I haven't like I was there for a while. I was sitting down and I was shooting as much as I could during the week. Now it's for me it's a little I think it's a little bit better now to where when I get like a day off or I get a couple hours where I can actually sit down and like I said, the Mandalorian shot, it took me like 10 minutes, but I was so inspired. It was like, let's do it. But for me now, sitting down like once or twice a week and I haven't really been purchasing as many new figures lately either because there just really hasn't been much that I really wanted. Um, and I think it's good for me too because I can go back and shoot a lot of things that at the time when I was first getting them, it was just like get them, shoot them, post them, on to the next. And now for me, I get to sit down and I get to go back and play with some of these other older toys that I've put down, and I feel like I didn't really enjoy as much. But overall, my approach to it is it's just a good place for me to escape and only have my mind focused on one specific task for a few hours. Just being creative, man. It's a full blown creative outlet for me, and it's like you always say, we are storytellers. For me, like I want my pictures to tell a story, and it
Hmm.
might be interpreted differently by somebody, than they even me, the creator of it. And I think that's what I enjoy the most about it. And I'm not in it to like make money or gain fame or anything like that. It was just like once I saw it, it was like, man, my like I said earlier in the show, like my brain was just such a sponge for it that I knew that I had to just be a part of it, And I slowly started building the collection and collecting dioramas, and I got the camera and here I am.
That's awesome, man. I love it. You're such a purist, dude. It makes me happy to talk to someone like yourself that's just got that love that, it's there's a lot of people, man, I feel like can get in it for those reasons and then all of a sudden they're kind of like the path like
Yeah,
changes over years and it's like,
for
oh,
sure.
like I'm trying to get insta famous and it's like it becomes this like notoriety like binge.
Yeah,
And I'm glad that you haven't gone that way. Not that like getting a big account is like bad or anything, but it's like when you do it for luck, like you would probably do it if you didn't have the Instagram account. Like you,
exactly.
it's just something you love to do, and it's a hobby. And the fact that you're able, I love the community aspect so much because people out there, because I don't know anybody, like I've mentioned this before, that does this around in my community. I don't know anybody
Yeah.
in my town that does this. I mean, there probably is, but it's just nice to be able to do this and with other people, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like I enjoy, people enjoying my posts, but it's, for me, in the beginning, like it was never really about the likes. It was just about like getting it out there and communicating with, communicating with people that I saw as, very talented people. And and trying to get connected with them, and then growing as myself, as a photographer. And there in the middle for a while, especially when I started finding like toy sessions, like Toy Pops and Top Toy Photos has their, um, Toy Group Alliance sessions. I found myself like, wanting the likes, and then there were a few times where I would feel like disappointed, like, man, I thought this one would get some more run, and then I just realized like that's ridiculous, man. Like that's not what you were doing in the beginning, and I don't even really join toy sessions anymore. Every once in a while, I'll throw one in there, but now it's just I take the photo and I put it up there, and hopefully people enjoy it as much as I do.
Yeah.
But it's definitely easy to fall into that, being hard
It's
on yourself because it's not getting likes or not breaking through the algorithm type deal.
Yeah, exactly. That is one thing that frustrates all of us is that
Yeah,
algorithm. So, and it's not even like trying to get more likes will satisfy us. It's just like the
right.
people that actually follow you and you interact with like on a daily basis, you want them to be
Hmm.
able to see your stuff without them having to push, the notification bell, which
Yeah, for sure.
just be able to scroll in the home feed would be nice. But I've already been on that soapbox before.
I know.
I don't want to
Yeah,
go back.
I
But
I hear you.
it's frustrating, man.
It is.
I really wish it was different. And did you see they Instagram did a like a what's the word? They did like a Q&A where they're asking people, they're like, "Hey, what could we do to make this better?" Like I had never
Mm,
seen them do that before, and they sent me like a little thing to fill out, and that was my main thing that I put down. I was like, I just want to be able to see a chronological home feed. Please, for the love of
yeah,
God,
seriously.
bring that back.
Yeah,
But that's it. That's all I want.
yeah.
I don't even
Like,
care about the
because
ads. The ads don't even bother me. It's just the chronological home feed.
yeah, you can keep the ads. Like, I get it, I understand, but yeah, bring back the chron. I mean, like everybody. So I have my separate account, and then Just Toy is just toys. I only follow toy photographers,
Hmm.
and still somehow, I follow 846 people. It's still somehow shots slip through the cracks.
Mm.
Like I won't see stuff, or it'll be like this was posted, 4 days ago, and it's figure fan Nate, who's a homie, that I've gotten close with over the years, talking to him, meeting him at Comic Con. It's like I didn't even see, how did this shot not make it across my feed over the last 3 days until now? Like I
I
don't know, man.
know.
It's ridiculous.
I think it's
Anyways,
the OCDness in all of us is being able to scroll down the feed until you get to that one post that that was like your benchmark where you're like, okay, this is where I got to yesterday, and now I
yeah,
can see everything that's been posted today. Like to me, that just satisfies my OCDness, if that makes sense.
yeah,
Like it
for sure.
it makes me happy, but I
It just
can't check
makes
that.
life easier.
It does, and I can't check that off my list anymore. But
Yeah.
anyways. Do you have
Oh
any
well.
moments that you look back in your journey as a toy photographer where you have to like pinch yourself and say, "Oh my God, did that really happen?" Is there any moments that you've had?
the, I knew this question was coming, um, and I think for me, I haven't, I've been featured on accounts and stuff, but like, I haven't been featured by Hasbro or Mezco or anything big like that. I think for me, the biggest pinch me moment was at Comic Con this year. I got to meet so many awesome people, dude.
Nice.
Um, yeah, man, like I got to meet like Sweat Picks and Black Series and Nose Rain, Richie. Like I got to meet all those guys. I got to meet like Plastic Action Jax. Dude, he is like a toy photography hero of mine. Like he was one of the early accounts that just absolutely blew me away. That dude is an artist, straight up. Um, and and I got to meet like my ultimate toy photography hero, which is Beryl Murado. If you guys aren't following him, or if you don't follow him, he's absolutely hilarious. And I feel like he's a comedic genius, and the stuff he puts out with his figures, man, is just, it's so, sometimes I literally just laugh out loud, and it's been that way for years. Um, so getting to actually meet him and hang out with him for a significant amount of time was like a treasure. And I got to meet up with all those guys I met Boog from ACBA, and I got to eat dinner with all those guys, man. Like that for me, that was my biggest pinch me moment. Meeting Nate, Figure Fan Nate, meeting him for the first time, and it was cool, man. Comic-Con was awesome this year. It was a blast.
It's weird to like realize that the people that we interact with all the time are actually real human beings.
Yeah, dude. They're just like total
I know.
awesome dudes. Just all of them were so genuine. And I walked up to Richie and I was like, dude, like I absolutely love your work. And he was really nice, really super nice, but he's like, dude, he's like, come on, man. He's like, I'm just you. Like I'm just a guy who takes pictures of toys just like you. Like don't be that way kind of thing. But he's very polite, very awesome. And I was like, he's like, I'm a big fan of yours too. He's like, so, it was so funny. They are, dude. They're just dudes. They're just the nicest dudes ever. They're so
Yeah.
genuine.
Yeah, for sure. And that's what makes this community so great, man. Is just the humility and people just staying humble as they progress and get big and big and do more things, you know.
Yeah. And, and there's some people on Instagram too that I've gotten so close with, like BMF, Louis, Bat Mother effing Photography. He is the funniest guy alive, and he does not give two craps about what you think about his art or anything like that. He's like literally the Picasso of toy photography. That's what I call him all the time, dude. He's just he puts it out there, and it's his, man. He owns it, and he's such an awesome dude, man. I've gotten so close to him,
Nice.
but yeah.
So where do you want to be in 10 years as a toy photographer? How do you want to be making art? Do you still want to be doing this? What's your goal?
Totally, man. I mean, if as long as the figures keep staying as cool as they are, I could totally see myself still doing this 10 years from now. As far as goals go, I mean, I'm so like fascinated by stop motion. Um, so Beryl Murado was actually messaging me. He is like his stop motion is awesome at this point, and it's taken him years and tons of practice to get to where he is. But I sent him a clip from The Big Lebowski because I was watching it. We joke about that movie a lot, and he was like, "You should do a stop motion with your 7-inch dude of like that scene." And I was like, "Man, I don't even know like where to begin doing that." I could obviously do the research on it, but I know that it takes a lot of time. And he was like, "All right, well, I was like, you should do it. Totally do it." And he's like, "I think I will." Um, so I would like to get into stop motion over the next couple of years. At least try it a few times and put it out there and see what it looks like. But yeah, dude, I'll totally still be doing art one way or another 10 years from now.
That's incredible, man.
You know,
I did not expect that answer. That's really cool. That's something that like I respect so much, but have zero interest to do.
in
Like,
stop motion,
yeah, dude, like
yeah,
zero interest.
it's dude, and like it's gonna be, it'll be so rough because for me, like if I want to do something like that, like of course I want it to be like as dynamic as possible. And I'm gonna have to, like, I'm gonna want people to fly, and I'm gonna want to do this and do that, and I need to just take it as baby steps.
Yeah.
So I know it's gonna take a lot of patience, but
What's
who
that
knows, man.
one? What's that one dude that does all the stuff for Big Bad Toy Store?
Dude, the holiday one, I know who you're talking about. Dude, I saw the holiday one he did where it was like all these figures like in a battle royale, like
Yeah,
Batman jumps in and then the T-Rex comes and eats Batman. And dude, that was nuts. Hold on.
he blows me away. I've seen his stuff for a while now. What's his name? Is it? Hold on, I'll look it up. I want to give him a
Yeah.
shout out. There it is. DGDX official. Yeah,
Yeah.
he does.
DGDX.
He does such cool stuff, man.
Yeah,
Such.
I see. I want to do that. Like, I like right away. I want that skill level, and I know that it's that's not just achieved overnight. I can't just go on YouTube and self-teach myself that.
No, he's like an entrepreneur and that kind of stuff, man. He's like,
Yeah, dude.
he's on next level. I don't understand. I appreciate it. I really enjoy watching the stuff, but like, I don't know why. Like, there's nothing in me that desires to do it. Like, maybe it's just like I know I could do it, like if I put my mind to it, but I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, dude. I feel you, man. It's not for everyone.
It's not for
Yeah,
everybody.
there he is. DGDX.
Yeah. Shout out to DGDX. And let's see.
Damn, dude, he was following me. Oh my god, I just had to follow him back. That was rude.
Ouch.
Wow, that's awesome. That shout out to you, dude. If you're listening, I love your work. I'm sorry I followed you back. You're awesome.
No, man. I hate it when that happens, dude. I hate it because like I've got so many different
Yeah.
accounts. Like having like 7 or 8 different accounts. Like I always forget who's following who, and
Yeah.
then that happens. That awkward moment. It's like, oh, I wasn't following you on my personal account. But
Yeah, that's
anyway,
the thing, a couple like a year or so ago, Instagram added the whole deal where you could follow hashtags.
yeah,
And I followed a lot of hashtags, so I would see like a lot of people's work, and then like I would just stumble upon them, and it's like, oh my god, I'm like not even following you, but I see your work every day from the hashtags, and then I feel pretty stupid about it, but
yeah.
hey, it's better late than never. I'm, if
Better
I
late
don't
than never.
if I don't follow you back, I'm sorry. I'm not. It's not like not on purpose. If you're listening to this and you follow me and I don't follow you back, I apologize. I will do my best. Just let me know. Just be like, hey man, give that
Do
follow
it.
back. And then be
Do
like,
it.
I got you, bro. I got you.
Got you, man. Well, dude, we're gonna take a quick break and we're gonna get right back to your interview. Stay right there, everybody. Welcome back, everybody, to ToyPhotoCast with Mr. Jish Toy, aka Josh. What's up, man? Welcome back.
Thanks, buddy. Nothing, man. Let's continue this conversation. I also need to apologize. Like, I've had a really bad head cold, so if my voice has been raspy or I've sounded like a heavy mouth breather, I apologize.
You sound fine to me, dude. You don't sound bad.
All right, cool. I was a
But
little
I
worried
don't
about it.
really. We don't talk enough that I know what your voice sounds like on a normal
Yeah,
basis.
yeah. A lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know what I sound like or really what I look like because I don't. With Jish Toy, it's just toys, man. I feel like you know that's really what all the people care about.
Let's talk about your profile pic, dude.
I've been waiting, dude. I've been waiting the whole
I
interview for this question.
I want to know what the heck is going on.
All right, all right. So when I was like, if the realest of real OGs remember Jish Toy, I had a picture of my Mafex Batman, and he was like holding up like a batarang over his face, and it was like super edgy and artsy. And like I knew that I was gonna have like I've mentioned before, like Beryl Murado is like my toy photography hero. I liked his approach to it. Like he's just like, here's my fake alias type thing, Beryl Murado. It's not even his real name, and he's got picture of what's his face from Fast Times at Ridgemont
Yeah,
High.
yeah.
But anyways, like I liked that approach, and so I had this like super cheesy Batman picture that I hated that I took, and I love Guy Fieri. All right, like I love Triple D. Been watching that show for what seems like forever, since the dawn of its existence. I think that Guy Fieri is the face of the internet, and his memes are everlasting and timeless. And I actually bought one of my roommates what I thought was a life-size Guy Fieri cutout for Christmas, and it turned out to just be like a 3-foot cardboard cutout, and now it sits on the mantle in my living room. Well, our living room. Um, so we do Triple D Fridays. There's a marathon every Friday. I'll get home from work and it's like bam, Triple D Fridays, and I watch it till I pass out. So long story short, I didn't want. I decided that I didn't want a picture of myself or a cheesy picture that I took, so I went through my selection of memes that I have, millions of memes that I have saved on my phone, and I chose the best Guy Fieri picture I felt like I had. So that, ladies and gentlemen, is the story of Jish Toys account picture.
So is his face like mirrored or is his hair mirrored? What's going on with that?
Somebody just photoshopped his spike tips and put it as his beard, like along with his like cheesy bleached goatee. Like, look, man, when you come to visit Jish Toys Gallery, you're also taking a trip down Flavortown in a lot of ways. We're rolling out. He's Guy Fieri. We're looking for America's greatest diners, drive-ins, and dives, and toy photography photos. So
I can dig it, man. I can dig it. I was always wondering what was going on. So
I
now I
get
know.
that a lot, dude. I mean, it's fun. I've gotten a lot through the years with that. I mean, that photo has literally been the profile photo. I think the only time that it wasn't was maybe like a month. Like, I posted in July of 2017, and I think by mid-August it was Guy Fieri. I had changed it. I was like, I'm doing it. I'm going for it. So
It's like when I click on your profile, I know exactly what I'm getting into. Like when I see that profile, I'm like, I'm about to get into something here.
yeah, dude. I don't. I used to incorporate a lot more like comedy into my photos.
Yeah.
Um, I had a lot of fun. I have a lot of fun with it. Lately it's been a little bit more like serious and like portrait style and but
That
every
is
once in a while I'll sprinkle in a little comedy there.
that is one tool in the tool belt that I do not possess is being able to be comedic with toy photography. Like I respect it and want it. That's actually one tool
Yeah,
I want so bad. I
yeah.
don't know how to do it. Like I want it, but I did one shot like a couple years ago and it would didn't even make sense. And for some reason I thought it was funny. And I posted like Darth Vader like eating guacamole and I had like made guacamole by hand and like put it in his like plate and like I don't even remember what the joke or the punchline was. Like no one got it, no one understood because it wasn't funny. Like I was trying to be funny, and ever since then, I just decided, you know what? I'm just gonna stick with what I know.
Well, it's hilarious because it felt like it wasn't hilarious. It's just it's
It was
that's
too forced.
hilarious,
It
dude.
was way too forced.
Too forced. See, like I think I'm looking at my my gallery now. I think the last like funny shot I did was um like you saw Avengers Endgame, obviously, and
Obviously,
Chris Hemsworth, Thor. There's a part where Iron Man, Tony Stark calls him Lebowski because he looks like the dude. He's just a fat dude. So I was sitting there and like instantly, man, like I was watching the movies in theaters. He called him Fat Lebowski. Bam, that image. I did an image of my 7-inch Lebowski holding Stormbreaker lighting a joint with a lightning bolt. Like that is instantly what came through my head when I saw and heard that scene on the big screen. And I asked Adrian Barrel Morado at Comic Con, I'm like, dude, like you're so damn funny. Where do you constantly come up with this? And he said, basically what I just said, like he just watched movies, dude. Like he grew up watching all these movies as a kid, and he just looks at the figures, and he puts a lot of like weed in his pictures too, which is hilarious. But like he'll just take those scenes and incorporate them into some of his favorite like comedic scenes and incorporate them into his photography. So like that's where like ultimately I draw a lot of my inspiration.
but I watch a lot of movies too, and I don't have that sense of humor. I don't get it, man.
Eh,
Where does it come from?
I don't know, man. I honestly don't know. I
It's a
I just
mystery.
yeah, I find it funny, and it's like maybe somebody else will too. I don't claim to be some like comedic genius, but if it gets like 3 or 4 people to laugh, it's totally worth it.
I've given up, dude. I've given up on being funny.
Whatever, man. You got you. It's in you. It's in all of us. You just have to find it. And I think too, like a lot of it has to do with like the character that you're dealing with. Like I have a ton of fun with Deadpool.
Yeah.
Like I feel like Deadpool has no limits to comedy, man. And also like I find like Han Solo, like I find him to be hilarious. Like I find like I feel like you can explore a lot with him and like Chewbacca, like their quips, um, their back and forth. Like I don't know,
Yeah.
you can draw a lot of inspiration from characters too.
Like I can dig on some dry humor, like some just
Hmm.
like super dry stuff, but like actual like gut busting funny, like
Yeah,
just it's hard. It's really hard.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if I've made anybody gut bust, but if I have, then go me.
I think the only thing that I've ever gotten anybody to do is just kind of laugh out of like pity. They're like, oh yeah, sorry. He tried really hard.
Yeah, he tried.
He really tried. Poor guy. But it's good to laugh at yourself. I mean,
Totally,
everybody
dude.
everybody has their own strengths and their own weaknesses, and that's definitely a weakness. And but so now that we're transitioning to a completely different topic, but what's your? I guess it definitely correlates, I guess. But what is your regiment of trying to like stay mentally fit? Do you have any sort of regiment that you follow? Do you try to do physical fitness or like what? How do you try to like stay on your game for that kind of stuff?
Mentally fit? I mean, like I don't exercise like probably like I should. But like as far as like mental exercises go, I mean, I'm pretty relaxed, like I'm a pretty easygoing person. I I think for me, like really toy photography, before I was doing toy photography, I was actually writing. Um, when I was still going to school, I was into journalism, and I started doing some sports writing for a website. Um, and I was mostly covering like the Kansas City Chiefs. They're my favorite football team, professional football team. And um, like for me, that was like a good exercise for me to be creative. But I got burnt out on it. It kind of became a job, so I graduated into. Well, I actually wasn't doing anything there for a while. Except like just like going to like music festivals and partying a lot and being a young guy. And then toy photography came along a couple of years ago in my late 20s, and I think that that's actually really helped me like mentally, um finding a way to like slow down from the everyday grind. I've never had trouble with like depression or like anxiety or anything like that. It's been pretty smooth sailing upstairs for me. um but I have had to find times to like just sit down and relax and escape reality, and I do that through video games and toy photography for the most part. It's a pretty simple answer, I suppose, but that's just how it works for me.
That's awesome, man. I know a lot of people come from all different walks of life and
Hmm.
have different
For
different
sure.
mindsets. And I was just curious, man. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Because I feel like for me, it's like almost a roller coaster. It's like I'll be having like just really great days, and then like
Hmm.
I'll be having really low days like the next day.
Really.
And then the next day is really great. It's not like I'm like bipolar. It's not even,
Yeah.
I wouldn't even qualify it as bipolar, but it's like, it's trying to gain momentum, like and build
Sure.
momentum in like a workflow setting.
Yeah.
Especially with toy photography where you try to like, and I guess this comes from being OCD, but I think trying to build a workflow where you're trying to consistently put out quality work and
No.
then you get met with like absolutely zero creativity. That's to me is really
Yes.
frustrating.
Yeah,
Eh,
dude. I there have been, excuse me, some days where like I'll sit down and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna shoot something today. Like I have the time, I'm gonna do it, and then I'm just like staring at all these action figures that are on my desk or on my shelves, and I'm like, I got nothing. I'm just gonna get up and walk away, and like it was like that pretty hardcore for me. Um, you know, pretty much the last half of 2019. I found a lot of days like that, like
mm,
where I was just like not feeling creative, and so then I would go, a couple weeks without posting, and then people would holler at me, the people I was close with. They're like, man, where you been? Like, miss your stuff, hitting me up in the inbox and stuff. So I can definitely relate to that, dude. Like just not having the inspiration or the creativity, but I don't know. Yeah, it comes and goes.
yeah. Me and Scott Blind talk about this a lot because I know he struggles with it too, about like being your own worst critic. Like,
Yes. Oh yes.
dude, that is to me, I feel like a great tool if you're able to use it wisely. Like if you're able
Yes.
to critique your stuff and hate your stuff in a constructive way
Yes.
instead of like being self-deprecating, that's like the hardest thing to navigate for me. It's like cuz I know I can produce quality stuff. It's just being able to like look at yourself objective and say, "Okay, what about this sucks? Like what about this
Yeah.
is not great?" And not like wanting to say it's great because you made it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, dude. 100%. Like I I go back and like every once in a while I will scroll all the way back to posts like 1 through 40 or so. And I'm like, man, these shots just like make me cringe. Like I I hate them, dude. Like,
Yeah.
but I'm not going to get rid of them because it's a good reminder of where I started and how far I've come. And I know a lot of people have said that on this show, about like if you just want inspiration, like go back and look. Even like Sergeant Bananas, man. Like, I remember a couple years ago he posted this thing where it was like these Ninja Turtles that he had like linked up together, hanging from a rock on a beach,
Mhm.
and he's like, "This is what I used to shoot." And then he's like, now he has a published book. We all know about Sergeant Bananas, but like the point is like you gotta have that stuff, man. Like it's a great measuring tool for yourself. And I hate that stuff in the beginning, man. It just literally makes me cringe.
It's like
I don't know.
it's like a hard thing to be able to mentally like be okay with where you're at, but at the same time
Yeah,
wanting to keep progressing and at the same
yeah,
time hating the stuff that you're doing terrible.
yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah, dude. It's a thin line to tread.
It
But
is.
I will find myself at times like like I'll post a shot, and then I'll go to lay down in bed, and then I just find myself just like staring at it, like staring at every crap. It's like, I could have posed this better. Like for instance, I think the favorite shot that I've ever done, it was actually shared on Top Toy Photos, like favorite photo whatever that Thad was running. It's a shot I did of like Batman, and it's the tactical suit Batman from Mesco, and he's throwing, like, I tried to simulate the motion of him on a knee, like after just taking down a thug, and like pulling a batarang from his belt and throwing it in another dude's chest that's coming at him. And like I love that shot, man. I love it. But if you look at it close enough, I didn't pose his belt correctly. Like his belt is off center from his torso. And it's such a distraction for me, dude. Like I bet you like so many people probably won't even or haven't even noticed that it's off center, but it bothers the ever living hell out of me. But
Mm.
at the same time, I love that shot so much, dude. It's my favorite shot. But that is like the perfect example. I feel like what you're talking about and how I can relate to it. It's just I will just nitpick the hell out of my own work, and being your own worst critic is it's a good thing to have. But you're right, man. You gotta differentiate between what you hate, what you don't, and all that you were
Yeah,
saying.
for sure. So having said all that, do you have any tips for people that just starting out doing toy photography?
Um, I think my only tip for you is to just play with your toys, man. Um, or it just literally just sit down and play with your toys. Um, I find that and I know that like the Amazing has said that, and I've referenced him a ton in here, but people have asked him, and myself included, how did you get this good? And he's literally just like, just play with your toys. Like that's like his main answer is just play with your toys. Sit down, play with them, look at how cool they are, look at all the cool poses you can get, and just progress with it from there, man. Like you're not gonna be. I don't think anybody is the greatest toy photographer of all time or photographer, but as long as you're playing and you're growing, and even whether you have a camera or not, just getting better yourself with your art, and just play with your toys, man. I know I babbled there at the end, but just literally just play with your toys.
That's awesome, dude. I think
Yeah.
that is something that I don't do enough actually. I,
Yeah.
I don't I don't play with them enough, and I think that childlike create that's where that childlike creativity comes from, is like just
Yeah.
playing and just having fun and enjoying it. And maybe I need to incorporate that more and just be a kid and not really stress about like making something rather than just playing. But
Yeah, man. Like like I'll bust open an action figure, and the first thing I do is just play with it. Like let's see what it looks like in this pose, and then let's see what it looks like running, or let's see what it looks like doing this. Like that's I draw a lot of inspiration that way too. When I first open a figure, is literally just play with it, man. Like test its limits. As far as you want to go with it. You obviously don't want to break like $100 figure or anything like that. But for me, man, like I feel like that's the best advice I could give to somebody is just just play with your toys.
nice. Well, dude,
Yeah.
where can people find you on social media if they're not already following you?
I don't have Twitter. I don't have Facebook anymore. If you want to follow me on my regular account, I don't really post much on there other than like memes. But I haven't really posted anything in a couple of years. But it's at Jish Michaels. But really, the only way to connect with me is at Jish_toy. And I'm very friendly and approachable. People have asked me questions over the years, and shoot me a DM, man. Let's chat, or woman, whatever. All my lady photographers out there.
Speaking of lady photographers, if there's any female toy photographers, we need some female toy photographers on the podcast. We need some
She's
representation, man. Where are the female toy photographers at?
Miss Bianca Boo is awesome. I met her at Comic Con. She's wonderful. She's an awesome artist. I believe she lives in Austria though, so it might be, I don't know what like the time zones are, but she would be an excellent guest to have on here. And this girl loves tacos. At This Girl Loves Tacos, she does more like Funko Pop stuff.
Okay.
But I've always enjoyed her work. Those are like the only two that come to my mind right now. But yeah, all the lady photographers out there. Oh, and Story My Toy, obviously. Lorraine, she's super sweet. Um, we actually she was having some health trouble. Was that last year? She might still be struggling with it. I haven't talked to her in a little while. But a group of toy photographers came together, and we each took a very unique special shot for basically like a coffee table. I think Cad's Toys put it all together. And um he reached out to like, what was it, like 15 of us toy photographers, and we took a shot that was unique and only to her book, like a coffee table book he made for her. And then we wrote a message specifically for her, wishing her to get better, and that kind of stuff. And her name's Lorraine. She's super nice. She's a great artist. and a wonderful person. And I was a lot closer to her about a year ago than I am now. I haven't talked to her as much, but she'd be a wonderful guest too if you could get her. I think she lives in Canada, if I'm not mistaken.
Awesome, dude. Thank you, man. Yeah, that's one thing that's been on my mind. Like, we need some female toy photographers on the podcast, man. Like, we
Totally.
need like the future of toy photographers to not just be men. You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
just a bunch of nerdy dudes with their toys and sweaty neckbeard nerds.
Like, I first see like I really hope this podcast lasts and like is like a reference for like years to come for people. So like as they go back and like listen to it, like they'll be able to see like, oh, okay, so girls do this too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh
So
yeah. I think the Toy Photographers podcast is gonna have its own special place in the Toy Photographers Hall of Fame 30 years from now when it's
dude,
built.
that'd be awesome. Yeah, it'd be great. All right. You can find me at Dagobah_days. You can find the Mezco 112 Collective feature page at 1.12.collective. You can find ToyPhotoCast at ToyPhotoCast on Instagram. And the Star Wars Toy Picks Instagram page is where we feature all Star Wars toy photography. And yeah, thank you guys for listening. And remember, we are storytellers. So get out there, tell your story, shoot some toys, play with your toys, as Jish, aka Josh, has just mentioned, and have a great day. Peace.